Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast with David Baker. David was a former paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division and for over 30 years has been a preacher. He has written 5 books and is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. He is the chaplain at the county jail, pastors a church, and is the father of 11 children. Yes, 11. This podcast is here to give you wisdom for your family, your marriage, your children, your finances, your health, and your life. And now, the host of Wisdom of Life podcast, David Baker.
Hello and welcome. I am David Baker, your host for the Wisdom for Life podcast. As always, we are glad you're here. I know there are hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million podcasts now, and that you take time to come here and listen to this. I sure appreciate that. We're glad you're here. If you get something good out of it, feel free to share it with somebody else. Let them know. It's great to see the audience growing. All right, we have episode number 7 today. Last time we did an interview with Gordon McFarland, a performance mindset coach, and boy, it's great having him on. And so today we're going to talk about how not to be a fool. How not to be a fool. One of the most important things, and just wait, you'll see how important it is and what a big deal it is. But before that, we're going to try to teach you something, maybe something that you don't know. We'll have a joke, tell you something I hate, something I love, and before we close, we have a gift to give you, and a very important gift today. All right. 3 housekeeping things. If you have a question, email me, askpastorbaker@gmail.com. And we're very close to getting ready to do one of those, a full podcast, just answering those questions. Also, go to wherever you listen to podcasts at and like, follow, give us 5 stars, give us a good review. That helps us so much. All right, where do you find us? The YouTube channel is Wisdom for Life Podcast. That's our YouTube channel if you want to watch it. Then you can go to the website, wisdomforlifepodcast.com, and we always have a gift there. And then Facebook page, David Mark Baker. David Mark Baker, follow me, and you can follow the podcast there. All right, we're going to learn you something, as they say in the South. Did you know that McDonald's one time offered bubble gum flavored broccoli? Yes, bubblegum flavored broccoli. McDonald's is always introducing new items to their loyal customers, and obviously some are more successful than others. But their bubblegum flavored broccoli, which the fast food chain developed in 2014, of a tastier version of the leafy green vegetable for children, was a complete failure. They admitted that the kids were confused by the taste. So bubblegum flavored broccoli. I wonder what kind of chemicals you had to put in that broccoli to make it taste like bubblegum. So anyway, so I didn't know if you knew that. I had never been in McDonald's when they had that. I don't think I would have bought it. All right, we always have a joke. We had a police joke, a preacher joke, a lawyer joke, a blonde joke. Last time we had a game warden joke. Today we're going to have an old person joke. You're going to make fun of old people? No, I think it's pretty much the other way around. Don't mess with old people. This is a hilarious joke, but slightly inappropriate. All right, so if you just want to fast forward and, or if you go, really? Pastor Baker would say something inappropriate? I don't think it's too inappropriate. So after you hear it, if you think that I should not have said it, then you can email me at askpastorbaker@gmail and say, I think that joke was inappropriate. So I'll know where we're at. Now, here's how I judge jokes. First, it's got to be non-racist. I'm not going to listen to it or laugh at it if it's non-race or if it's racist. So for me to have a joke, it's got to be non-racist, non-dirty. And so I judge that by, would my dad tell it? My dad's a very straight-laced guy. I think my dad actually sent me this one. And could I tell it to my children? Now, I would. For me, that would pass those tests, but it is a little borderline on a couple of those. By the way, my level for telling a joke is not would my wife tell it, because she probably wouldn't tell any. So does that make you really want to hear it, or are you going to be greatly disappointed in me? So every once in a while, I will greatly disappoint a sweet little lady that didn't think that was appropriate. But anyway, I think it is, so we'll go. Here's the joke. The IRS decides to audit Grandpa and summons him to the IRS office. The IRS auditor was not surprised when Grandpa showed up with his attorney. The auditor said, well, sir, you have an extravagant lifestyle and no full-time employment, which you explained by saying that you win with money gambling. I'm not sure the IRS finds that believable. Oh, I'm a great gambler and I can prove it, says Grandpa. How about a demonstration? The auditor thinks for a moment and says, okay, go ahead. Grandpa says, I'll bet you $1,000 I can bite my own eye. The auditor thinks for a moment and says, okay, that's a bet. Grandpa removes his glass eye and bites it. The auditor's jaws drop. Grandpa says, now, I bet you $2,000 I can bite my other eye. Now, the auditor says he can tell Grandpa isn't blind, so he takes that bet. Grandpa removes his dentures and bites his good eye. The stunned auditor now realizes he has wagered and lost $3,000 with Grandpa's attorney as a witness. He starts to get nervous. Then Grandpa says, you want to go double for nothing? I'll bet you $6,000 I can stand on one side of your desk and pee into that wastebasket on the other side and never get a drop anywhere in between. The auditor, twice burned, is cautious now, but he looks carefully and decides there's no way that old guy could possibly manage this stunt, so he agrees. Grandpa stands beside the desk, unzips his pants. Although he strains mightily, he can't make the stream reach the wastebasket on the other side. So he pretty much urinates all over the auditor's desk. The auditor leaps with joy, realizing that he just turned a major loss into a huge win. But Grandpa's own attorney moans and puts his head in his hands. Are you okay? The auditor says. Not really, said the attorney. This morning when Grandpa told me he'd been summoned for an audit, he bet me $25,000 he could come in here, pee all over your desk, and you'd be happy about it. We'll tell you, hey, don't mess with old people. Don't mess with old people. All right, let me know. Was that inappropriate? Are you laughing? If you think it's good, pass it along. All right, something that I love and something that I hate. By the way, this segment I got from Ben Shapiro. If you ever listen to him, he's a great political guy, and so it's a segment I listened to. I thought, I like that. So, something I love. I love scuba diving. I've jumped out of airplanes in the Army, and that was a lot of fun. And just always was a swimmer, lifeguard, swim team, race, water safety instructor. I can certify lifeguards. Swam 7 miles before without stopping, so I love the water. But boy, being able to go underneath the water and not have to breathe, and then to be able to go see the amazing things that God put underneath the water, it is incredible. And boy, I just love it. We got to go scuba diving in the Bahamas and Cozumel, and just seeing the beauty under there, the fish, the colors, the plants, amazing. In Cozumel, it had called an underwater river. And so there's a current that goes in the ocean underwater. And so you can get in that current without having to paddle or swim or anything. It just brings you along. It was like you're riding a tram in like Busch Gardens, seeing all the animals. I mean, you're just in this flow of water, and wow, there's a lobster. There's a barracuda. There's a sea snake. Hope it stays over there. Just beautiful, beautiful things. If you ever get a chance to go get certified, it is awesome. In fact, I thought about it because today we're going scuba diving. So I'm recording this right about Father's Day, and my kids and I are going scuba diving in a quarry today. And so I'm having a great time. So that's things I love. Things I hate, someone that sows discord among the brethren. How beautiful is it when brethren dwell together in unity? Boy, when kids and family and church and friends are getting along, how beautiful that is. God hates it when someone sows discord among the brethren. People that just try to stir things up, put things out there just to cause a problem. I hate that. Love unity, love getting along with people, and do not like it when people try to stir up and cause problems. All right. So, main thought for the day. A couple different ways you can do this. This is something that I teach to parents on rearing children, how not to rear a fool, or you could call it how not to be a fool. Probably most fools aren't going to listen to this, but how not to rear a fool, and things to look for and watch and see how important this is. The title of the whole podcast is Wisdom for Life. Wisdom is knowing what to do and having the power to do it. That's what wisdom is. When you know what to do, and then you have the power to do it. The fool is exactly the opposite. The fool is they know what to do, but they don't do it. They don't do it. There's a group in the middle. We'll teach about that sometime. The simple person. The simple doesn't know what to do. They're simple. They don't know. Now, you don't want to stay simple. You want to have knowledge. You want to know what to do and then do it. That's wisdom. The fool, they know what to do, but they don't do it. They're a fool. Solomon taught his son about a fool a lot. 37 times he taught him about fool, 19 times fools, 13 times foolish, 8 times foolishness, 77 total times Solomon taught his son about a fool, foolish, fools, foolishness, 77 times. That's a lot. That's a big deal. And so we do not want to be a fool in anything. We definitely do not want to rear a fool. Now, I want to show you how important that is to help you not to rear a fool. Proverbs 10:1 says, "A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother." You want your wife to carry a burden the rest of her life? Rear a fool. You want to carry a burden as a mom? Have a child that grows up and is foolish. It'll be heaviness to you. Proverbs 15:20, "A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son despiseth his mother." Despiseth his mother. Proverbs 19:13, "A foolish son is a calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping." That foolish son is going to bring calamity to his father, but a wise son maketh the father glad. Proverbs 17:21, "He that begetteth a fool doeth it to his own sorrow, and the father of a fool hath no joy." So many times I've heard parents talk about, 2 more years, my kid's out of the house, I'm done. Sorry, let me help you. They are your child for life. And the problems aren't just done when they graduate high school. That's when usually the big problems come. And it will include you. And so you want to do everything you can to be the kind of example as a wise person so your child can get that by being around you and help them not to be a fool. One more verse on that. Proverbs 17:25, "A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her that bear him." Men, you want to live with a bitter woman the rest of her life? If you have a fool, that's what can happen. The foolish son is grief to his father. Listen, moms and dads, there is nothing more important than helping our children to be wise, to have wisdom, to be prudent, to know what to do and having the power to do it. And so make sure you're learning these things, getting these things, helping them with this. It really is a big deal to be able to do this. Okay, so fools are promoted. We all like a promotion, right? Hey, I got a promotion. Guess how fools are promoted? Proverbs 3:35. The wise shall inherit glory. The wise, they're going to inherit. They're going to get glory, prestige, and honor. But shame shall be the promotion of fools. Shame shall be the promotion of fools. As a chaplain at the jail, I see a lot of guys in shame. When they're in stripes, when they have to be handcuffed and ankle cuffed and the chain wrapped around their waist and then their hands tied to that, and they have to shuffle in and out to be able to go to court and people looking and mocking them, what happened? Shame is the promotion of fools. We do not want to be a fool. Now, I'll say this again at the end, but if you missed that first lesson on how to be wise, you need to go back and find that. Episode number 1. How to be wise. You need that. Your children need that. We need that in life, because if we are not wise and we're a fool, then shame will be our promotion. That's what we're going to get. All right, so if you know a fool, get away from them. How do you know? Proverbs 14:7 says, "Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge." How do you know a fool? Listen to him. Listen to them. You hear them talk. You hear them mock authority. You hear them mock God. The Bible says fools make a mock at sin. Proverbs 14:9. So fools will make a mock of sin. When they mock sin and laugh at it, it's no big deal, think it's funny. When you perceive in them that they do not have knowledge, go from them. Go from the presence of a foolish man. Well, you're judging him. I'm sorry. You please need to understand judgment. That is one of the questions that came in, and we're going to talk about that when the Bible says, "Judge not, lest you be judged." That's one of the questions, because so many times people, and especially preachers, get, quote, in trouble for judging people. You're not to judge somebody. We're going to talk about that. But God said here, when you perceive, when you make a mental judgment that this person does not have knowledge, get away from them. Proverbs 9:6, "Forsake the foolish and live and go in the way of understanding. Forsake the foolish. Leave them. Be done with them. You're a fool. Why is it a big deal to not be around them? Proverbs 13:20, it says, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise. We talked about that in the lesson. Did you know you can get wisdom almost by osmosis? What does that mean? Just by being around wise people, you become wise. How come? Because we cannot but speak the things we've seen and heard. We are going to model after who we're around, what we hear, what we see them do. We're going to learn from them. One of the most fun things now, honestly, is listening to my children, listening to them talk, listening to them give advice to other people. It's amazing how much they've listened through the years, how much they've learned. And my kids will tell me something. It's like, that sounds familiar. And they'll smile. Yeah, Dad, you taught me that. And to see them use that advice and give it to somebody else is amazing. When you walk with wise men, then you will be wise, okay? But it says, a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Why should you not be around fools? Because the companion of fools shall be destroyed. I've heard so many times through the years of being working at the jail when a guy would say, look, I didn't do anything. Honestly, I didn't. And the old joke is that everybody in prison is innocent. By the way, I've spent 26, 27 years around those guys, and hardly any of them ever say they're innocent. Honestly, that's a joke. Most of them don't. Now, they may tell the judge or attorney that, but to me, they tell me what they did and what happened. So when one of them says, look, I really didn't do what they accused me of, most of the time it's pretty true. In my case, as far as talking to the preacher. But by the way, do you know you can get in trouble even if you didn't do it? How can I get in trouble if I didn't do it? It's called being an accomplice or being an accessory. An accessory to the crime? I didn't do it. I was just there. Here's the story. A guy named Chris, we'll give you his last name, know him for years, got out of jail, went home. A friend showed up at his house and said, hey, Chris, good to see you. You're out, man. How you doing? Man, I'm doing good. Hey, you want to go cruise around town with me for a little bit? Oh, man, I can't. It's starting to get late, and I have probation, and I've got a curfew of a certain time I have to be in. And the guy said, oh, man, you're PO, probation officer. He's not going to come by tonight. You're okay. Come on, man. Let's just go ride around town. Chris gives in. Okay. And so he just rides around town. The guy said, hey, man, you want to drive? You haven't driven in a long time, have you? Oh, man, that'd be cool. Okay. So now he's driving. The friend, quote, says, hey, man, pull up here. I got to get something. So Chris pulls up there and he's waiting. The guy comes running out of the place and said, go, man, go. What? Go, go, go. So he takes off. Finds out the guy went in this restaurant and steals money from the cash register. Runs out yelling, go, go, go. Chris didn't do anything. He was just driving. But guess what that makes him? An accomplice. Okay. He was the getaway driver. He didn't know he was. That wasn't the plan. And by the way, if Chris had done it, he'd have told me, yeah, I knew what I was doing. We're robbing this guy. He would have told me that because honestly, I did not know. A companion of fools shall be destroyed. He should have said, wait, here's a guy who's trying to get me to break my probation, to violate my curfew. That's a fool. No thanks. See you later. Take care. Right? It is his fault because he should not have violated the rules of the probation, and he should have not listened to somebody that did not care about him enough to help him to follow the rules. And so, guess what Chris did? He went back to jail. That quick, one day. How come? Because he had not made a decision to be different and away and going from the presence of people that are fools. It's a big deal. By the way, fools can be funny. Fools can be the life of the party. Fools can be cool. Fools can be popular. Guess what? Go from them. Teach your children, go from them. You do not want to listen to them. By the way, you can also be around them by TV, by movies, by shows. It's amazing what we let our children listen to and watch as they mock their parents, as they put their parents down. I remember the cartoons growing up, Richie Rich and little cartoons. And so there was a Richie Rich show and had real people in it. And so I watched a half an episode and was like, wow, this is horrible. They make dad out to be such a dunce. And the kids are brilliant and smart and amazing. Please understand, if a child hears and sees that all the time, guess what he's going to think? Kids are the smart ones. Dads are the dumb ones. That's not a good thing. Companion of fools shall be destroyed. Okay? So we don't want to rear fool. If we do, we're going to be bitter, we're going to be hurt, we're going to be messed up, we're going to cause heaviness, all those problems. A fool is someone who knows what God wants him to do, but he's not doing it. We want to be wise. Proverbs 1:7 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So how do you know if someone's a fool? How do they take instruction? How do they take wisdom? Fools despise wisdom. They don't want wisdom. They don't want to know what's right and to do what's right. They don't want that. They don't want instruction. How well does someone take instruction and correction? The Bible says a wise man loves it when someone rebukes him. A wise man loves it when someone rebukes him. When you're trying to help your children to be correct, don't we want to be right? Do we want to be correct? If we're trying to help our children to be correct, they need to learn how to take instruction and to love it and be glad and say thank you. It's not always pleasant. We don't always enjoy it, but we need it. If someone cares about us enough to try to help us to be wise and to learn and to be correct, we need to listen to that. Okay? So how else can you tell if a fool's mouth, Proverbs 18:7, a fool's mouth is his destruction and his lips are the snare of his soul. How many times have you heard, boy, you better watch it. Your mouth is going to get you in trouble. That's why that tongue is so important. One of the lessons we taught early on, the tongue, the power of it to control your tongue and what you say. The lips, the mouth, boy, they get you in trouble. A fool's mouth is his destruction. We should rule our spirit. We should be able to control our tongue and what we say, and we should help our children to be able to do the same, or it's going to cause them a lot of problems and get them in trouble. All right, last thing on this, a fool, they always think they're right. They always think they're right. A fool is right in his own eyes, Proverbs 12:15. He that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. You got someone that won't listen to anybody. They think they're right all the time. They're going to do what they think. They're going to do what they want, and they don't get advice. They don't get counsel. Boy, that's a big deal. Do not be a fool. Do not rear a fool. Help them to see and understand. Thank God my dad is still alive, and he's 84 years old and great wisdom. When we first moved to town, my uncle, or second cousin, but older, owned a big mobile home dealership. And so I was going to buy one of those, double Y, and I knew he'd sell it to me, and that way I didn't waste any money on rent. Well, I ran it by my dad. He said, son, don't do that. But Dad, I'm just going to be wasting money on rent. Son, don't do that. Dad, I'm not going to be able to buy a house for a couple years, and he'll sell me this right now. I hadn't talked to him yet, but I assumed he would. Dad said, son, I'm telling you, don't do that. My dad didn't take time to tell me the details of everything. He just said, son, don't do that. It didn't make sense to me. I don't want to waste money on rent. I want to buy something, and I could buy this now. But I was wise enough to listen to my dad. So it took us 2 years to buy a house. And we bought that house, low 70s, 72, I think it was, and sold it for $180. Hey, that was a blessing. Bought the house for $72 and sold it for $180. And let me see, that double wide, I'd have probably paid about the same for it. What do you think that would have been worth 23 years later? Let's see, a double wide with 11 children in it. Would it have been standing after 23 years? I don't think it would have appreciated in value, and I don't think I would have made over $100,000 from the selling that double wide. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Have wisdom. Listen to counsel. Don't think that you're always right. Yield to people that have more experience. Yield to people that are older than you. Yield to people who have been through that, even if you think you're right. I knew I was right. Why waste money on rent? Okay? Boy, thank God now. That helped us to be able to buy a house that's actually big enough for our family. Went from 1,500 square feet to 6,050 square feet, from 2 bathrooms to 6. Amen. What a blessing. Because how come? I realize I do not know everything. I'm going to listen to my dad and yield to him. And what a blessing that is, right? So you want to make sure that you do not rear a fool, or you are going to have a whole lot of problems. So help them to be able to get this, okay? So for today, if you would like this lesson, all right, just email me, askpastorbaker@gmail.com, askpastorbaker@gmail.com. If you took notes, or if you're driving, it's definitely hard. Don't take notes then. But if you want these verses and this lesson, these are things you want to teach your children and help them and watch. Moms and dads, you ought to every day. Look at your children. How are they doing? What's going on? Who's influencing them? Listen to them. Listen to what they say. That's a foolish statement. We need to help them with that. Help them to see that. You do not want to rear a fool. You're going to create a lot of problems. So just email me, Ask Pastor Baker, Baker, at gmail.com, and say, hey, I want the lesson on how not to be a fool, and we'll send that off to you. All right? All right, in ending, we always say this, be kind to everyone, because everyone's having a tough time. If you knew what everyone was going through, their toughest heartache right now, I guarantee you they have it. By the way, if you want to encourage and help people, you want to be an amazing help for Christians and for people, get into the habit of asking people, hey, do you have anything about which I can pray for you? Do you have anything I can pray with you about? Wow. It's amazing how people will open up and share, and then you can pray for them and be a friend to them. Be kind to everyone, because everyone's having a tough time. Until next time, get wisdom for your life. It is the principal thing. That first episode has a lesson about that. Get wisdom for your life. It is the principal thing. God bless you, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Wisdom for Life podcast. If you have any questions for us, email us at askpastorbaker@gmail.com, and we will answer them in an upcoming podcast. The email is askpastorbaker@gmail.com.